Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Welcome to The Long Road. My name is Kris Roberts. It is sure glad to be back with all the problems they had with Chester TV and it being shut down for, I guess, about a good 2 years. And I found it frustrating, like a lot of other people found it frustrated. I look forward basically every week to provide information to the people that watch the show. But the now Fact TV is here, and they're doing a wonderful job. And I'm glad to have the opportunity to come back and talk to the people. And I gather not just of Keene, but more. We even have a greater audience. So, like I says, I'm really glad to be back. Before the Cheshire TV shut down, my show, The Long Road, it lasted 8 or 9 years, and so I was just really glad they had the opportunity to do that. And like I said, glad to be back. And for the people that do not remember, or the people that are new to the show, I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm not going to tell you how to think. And plain and simple, my learning is not Democrat, it's not Republican, it's not Libertarian, it's not anything. All I want to do is get out as much factual information so you, the listener, can make your own decision. And no matter how factual I think the information is, I want you to double check. I want you to do your best to prove me wrong. I go by Abraham Lincoln's theory of the truth. When someone tells you something, spend 80% of your time trying to prove them correct. Just like when you get ready to tell someone, spend 80% of your time trying to prove that you're wrong. That's what we want, plain and simple, and that's the benefit of public access TV. We don't have people, we don't have advertisers that will say, do this, else we pull our advertisement. Nope. Public access TV is to provide as much information to the public, unbiased. Plain and simple. The city and some of the towns, they have ponied up money to help keep this this station on the air. The subscribers to cable TV also pay a franchise fee that helped keep this on the air. So basically, public TV belongs to you. It does not belong to an advertiser. And I just want to let you know right up front, so far, It's like I said, my first show back. Working with the two individuals that have helped me put on this show, outstanding individuals. They know their stuff, and they're going to do their best to help me put on as professional show as possible. And from the people from the old one, you can see our intro is new, and you can see the stage is new. Both upgrades from the last shows. Okay, today what we're going to talk about is a lot of misinformation that's on the air. What I do, I work, and I don't call it a work, is that I'm a veteran service officer. And what I do is I work with veterans. I would work with their widows and widowers, because we have more women that were in the military, to get them the benefits they rate and deserve, and in a lot of cases, even convince them to apply, and to apply before it gets too late. And the thing is, as a veteran service officer, I can help any veteran or the veteran's family. And what I do is I see people in person. I see people in Keene. I see people in Claremont. I have phone appointments. I have FaceTime appointments for Apple people. And I've even had a couple of Skype people, because I understand. And what I also do is I go to nursing homes to help people because they can't come and see me. I even go to people's houses at time if they have a serious problem and they're homebound. Okay, so two of the things that we're going to talk about today is right now you're getting bombarded. I don't care. You can't watch a TV station. You listen to the radio. You're on the internet. You're on Facebook. And you have people going, Camp Lejeune water lawsuit. And the last time I looked, in the middle of February, these law firms and everything have spent about $160 million on advertising. Some of these law firms and everything, they're legit. They want to help. Some of these law firms, the way I look at it, I find them highly questionable. When they go in and say, give me your name, your social security number, your date of birth, all this information, your DD 214, so I will show everything, where were you born, the whole works. And, oh yeah, go in and get your medical record and go in and get your service record and sign this 2 or 3 page document saying that we're going to help you and we'll let you know if you have a case or not. Well, that really invites the possibility of a lot of identity theft. Because let's look at it. If I called you up or I said, here's a number or a website, you go to that website and it says, give me all this information and I'll be in contact with you. Would you really want to do that? And there's a couple other things when they go and say Camp Lejeune lawsuit. Well, what they're saying is some of these companies are saying, oh, well, yeah, we're going to sue. We're going to sue the federal government. Okay? Yeah, you can sue the federal government. They're talking about possibility of getting millions of dollars for people, $500,000-$600,000 for people. Okay, one of the things when you do the lawsuit, okay, I've seen some where the lawyers have said, okay, we will get 40% of whatever you get, and plus all the expenses, phone calls, filing, secretary, all this other stuff. Okay? So if you go, wow, if they're saying I'm going to get $1 million, so what if they take 400,000 or 500,000? I'm still going to get $500,000. I don't have to. Hey, that's a pretty good deal. Well, no lawyer can tell you how much money you're going to get up in advance. I've done over 1,000 claims. I look at the claims. I put in the claims. And I don't tell people what I think the VA is going to give them for a percentage, because I don't know how they're going to perform when they have their exam. Okay, I don't know what they're going to say. And so it would be totally, really unethical of me saying, oh yeah, I've looked at bang, bang, bang. Yep, you should get 70% for PTSD. You should get 30% for your back. And you should get this 10% for tendinitis and 20% for your hearing. So you would get 90% overall disability. I can't guarantee that. And you may do something on the exam. So you can go in and the examiner can say, how you doing? Oh, and you may say something, hey, I'm doing pretty good today. Well, if you're doing pretty good today, your opportunity to get 70% on PTSD is just dropped drastically. So there's a whole bunch of things. Or there may be things that you've said in other, when you've gone to appointments and stuff, because they'd be looking at that. They go look through all this stuff. And so you really have to be careful when someone is saying all this, oh yeah, just give me all the stuff, plain and simple. Okay. When they talk to the Camp Lejeune lawsuit, okay, there's two different things going on. Okay, because you're filing against the loss of value, and you're filing it against the United States Navy. So when you have lost something and you've created a law, you file what's called a tort. Not a lawsuit, a tort. The lawyers don't want you to use the tort, because I've done a couple of tort claims for veterans. And what happens is that tort claim is the one-page form. Your name, your address, when you served at Camp Lejeune, did you serve between 53 and 87? Did you serve at least 30 days at Camp Lejeune, which could be as simple as being in the National Guard or the reserves, and spend 2 15-day summer training. That would qualify you. So that in those ways, that you don't have to be a Marine or in the Navy to qualify under the Camp Lejeune. But you have to show proof that you've done it. So this is where I was, this is the unit. And then as you go down in the middle, it goes and says, what of these illnesses do you have? You check off these illnesses. If your illness is not listed, then what you do is they check off the box other and you list it other. And then as you go down to the page, it says, what is your loss? Okay, which means you have to put a number in there. If you don't put a number and you leave 0, even if the Navy says, yes, you suffered this and this is cost, but you told them it was 0, so that's what your reward would be, 0. Okay, for one of the gentlemen that I had kidney cancer. Okay, and so what happens is you go to, because the federal government has actuaries, just like insurance companies, and they go in and they'll bang, bang, bang. Okay, kidney cancer is worth $195,000 to $225,000 loss. So we put in $210,000. So if the Department of the Navy says, yes, he suffered a loss, it was $210,000, that individual would get a check, a payment for $210,000. That individual would get all $210,000. Plain and simple. Okay, so if a VSO helped that individual, the VSO gets nothing, and the veteran service officer and the veteran gets everything. Or if it's a widow or it's surviving of that veteran, then they get the money. Now, instead of, so the veteran goes to a lawyer, and the lawyer fills out that paper and has the veteran sign it, or the veteran gave the lawyer the ability to sign that paper, and the Navy says, yes, $210,000 belongs to the veteran. Because it's a tort, the max amount legal is 20%. So, which means that veteran went to the lawyer would get $42,000, and the veteran basically would get $168,000. And that's, as Paul Harvey would say, that's the rest of the story. Now, if the veteran went through a lawsuit, and then that lawsuit went through, and say the veteran was granted $210,000, let's round it off to $200,000 for the sake of argument and quick ease. So if he signed off to a lawyer and he agreed to the lawyer at 40%, so that automatically brings it $120,000 for the veteran, $80,000 for the lawyer, and then the lawyer says these are all these other fees and everything. So that could be $30,000 extra in fees, and every time you called the lawyer's office, or emailed or sent them a letter, those are expenses. So bingo, in that case, the lawyer could get $110,000 and the veteran could get $90,000. So those are different ways of looking at it. Okay? And so, for example, prostate cancer is not on the list, but prostate cancer could be checked off on it. When I look at the list of the value, prostate cancer is worth about $75,000 to $90,000. Okay? But again, what the lawyer may not be telling you or what is, if you're 65 or 70 or 75 and you served at Camp Lejeune 50 years ago, well, yeah, you served at Camp Lejeune 50 years ago and you have prostate cancer. Your chances of getting money for prostate cancer is little to none. And you can go and say, well, that isn't fair. Well, you're going to have to prove a loss. Okay? Basically, almost every male passes with prostate cancer in his system. Yes, about 35,000 men a year die of prostate cancer. But once you get in your 60s and 70s, you get the prostate cancer. It's starting growing. And in a lot of them, they would say, hey, it's slow growing, so we're not going to do anything. If it's fast growing, we're going to do something. We're going to radiate it. We're going to cut it out. And so because so many men have prostate cancer in their 60s and their 70s, the chances of you getting that is pretty slim. I was at Camp Lejeune, or Lejeune, which is the correct way to pronounce it, and I had prostate cancer at the age of 42. Okay, so if you're under 50 years old when you get the prostate cancer, you would have a much more viable case of getting of proving loss. And okay, if you've got prostate cancer, so let's go at 87, that's 30, 13, 36, 18, 54. Like a lot of the commercials where you will see individuals that would not have spent 30 days or more in Camp Lejeune during the time frame, because the youngest people to qualify would be 54. And so as it's going along, you run into that the biggest loss that you would have if you had prostate cancer and it had to be radiated or resected would be your ability to have children. Then you would have to argue the case that you are planning to have children in your 50s and 60s. Some people do it. It's not unusual in Hollywood. Okay. So that's on the legal side and what you're seeing on TV and all these different type of media. And so as a VSO, I can't recommend any one of these ways that you would want to go when it comes to the legalese and all that kind of stuff. My job is to provide you as much information as possible for you to make the decision that you are most comfortable with. And once you say, if you make a decision and you sign on with a lawyer or a law firm, I can't advise you any way or shape or form on the information that would be between your lawyer and you. Okay. People go and say, what is the Camp Lejeune? Okay, and again, so they're talking about between 53 and 1987, about 1 million people. If they go and say, hey, 17 people out of every 100,000 people will develop bladder cancer, just in the normal around the country, outside of Camp Lejeune. So let's say that doubled, or say it went up to 34 per 100,000. So what that would mean is when you go over that whole time frame, you're only talking approximately 340 to 350, and even if you round it up to 400 people. So out of that 1 million people, and if you up at 150%, about 400 people would have gotten bladder cancer. So again, when they go in, it isn't about having bladder disease or different things wrong with your bladder. It has to be bladder cancer, for example. You know, it can't be precancerous cells. It can't be like pre-diabetes. It has to be actual diagnosis. Okay. You must have served at Camp Lejeune or Marine Corps Air Station New River, North Carolina, for at least 30 days total between August 1st, 1953 and December 31st, 1987, okay, and you did not receive a dishonorable discharge when you were separated from the military. So it doesn't matter how messed up you are and everything. If you had a dishonorable discharge, you're not going to qualify. Okay. The other option that you can have right now without making a decision on the other side, the legal side, is apply for VA disability right now. If you fall into that category, if you qualify for by location and time, and for the Marines out there, I served at Camp Geiger. Well, Camp Geiger is considered part of Camp Lejeune. I served out at Courthouse Bay. That's considered Camp Lejeune. Okay, right now, anybody that fell into that category of August 1st, 1953 to December 31st, 1987, so 53, so it's 69, 87. So if you were 18 and you went to Camp Lejeune in 1953, you would be 87 right now. So basically, the people that were in Camp Lejeune in the early 50s, mid to late 50s, most of them have passed on. But there's a way to deal with that. Okay, if you have adult leukemia, anaplastic anemia, and I can't pronounce the other, and other like syndromes, bladder cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, multiple myeloma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and Parkinson's disease, file a claim for disability right now. And things like Parkinson's disease can be pretty debilitating. It could be the point that you really can't do much. You're homebound. You can't work. And you may be unemployable due to your Parkinson's disease, the shakes, and the unstableness. Okay. The VA, unlike Social Security, does not have an age limit on unemployability. The question is, if you did not have, for example, did not have your Parkinson's disease and you're 75 years old and you wanted to work, would you work? And you go, yeah, I would. And it's not like Social Security saying, sorry, you don't qualify, you're past your full retirement age, so you can't be considered disabled. Well, look around in a lot of places, Market Basket and some of the, there's people in their 65 and 70 and 75 out there working. They're working because they want to. Some are working because they have to. It may be a combination. And so, if they have Parkinson's, but if you have Parkinson's, you can't do that. You may not even be able to drive. So again, adult leukemia, aplastic anemia, bladder cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, multiple myeloma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and Parkinson's disease. Okay, multiple myeloma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Parkinson's disease, leukemia, and aplastic anemia. They're really bad diseases, and they really limit what you can do. They work on destroying your quality of life. And those would result in service connection from the day you filed. For example, if you came in and saw me Monday and you had those, we would fill out the claim and submit it before you even leave the left my office. And in about a week, you'd get a letter from the VA saying we've got your claim. And then about a week or two later, after they get your service records and your medical records to prove that you were in Camp Lejeune, you'd stop getting your exams, comp and pen exams. And in this case right here, right now, it's taking about 123 days from the time the claim is submitted to the time it's approved. And so, for example, if you had Parkinson's disease, which made you unemployable, or you had leukemia, which made you unemployable, and you were married, chances are you wouldn't have any children under 18, you could be easily looking at about $3,800 to $4,200 a month, plus free health care for all, your whole body, and free medicine prescription. And for example, adult leukemia, They may even say, okay, looking at it, they may say, wait a minute, the veteran needs 15 hours of in-home care a week, and the VA would pay for it and arrange for in-home care. And if the spouse been going that, you could apply for what's called the caregiver program, and the VA would pay the spouse to take care of the veteran, and the VA would also have people fill in so the spouse could go on respite, because taking care of someone, an adult at home, is demanding and stressful, and everybody needs a break. It could be simple as, okay, one day a week the individual would go into adult daycare so the spouse could run around and do a bunch of things that have to. And if you need VA health care, and I don't see why you wouldn't take advantage of it, and say you had to go to White River Junction, the VA will send a bus right to your door, pick you up, bring you to White River Junction, and back. And so there's a lot of things that the VA will take care of. So that list I gave, those are presumptives. All you have to show is that you were in Camp Lejeune for 30 days, at least 30 days between those time frames. And one of the things all as Marines know in a service record book on OQR, page 2 goes in there. Page 2, all they would have to do is open up your page 2 and say, 1st Battalion, 8 Marines, Camp Geiger from such and such a date to such and such a date. And if that's 30, good. Or your DD 214 says released from 2nd Combat Engineer Battalion, Camp Lejeune, such and such a date. Those are automatically covered. Those issues, the presumptives that I listed off, again, adult leukemia and aplastic anemia, bladder cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, multiple myeloma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and Parkinson's disease are for veterans and veterans only. Okay. Here's the other part is it's kind of confusing. And you kind of say, this is the government pinching pennies. Okay. Now, if you're a family member of a veteran that served at Camp Lejeune, so I served at Camp Lejeune, and my daughter was born at Camp Lejeune, so they track us. So, for example, if my daughter gets bladder cancer, breast cancer, esophageal cancer, female infertility, I can't pronounce this, but I know it's called the fatty liver. And you can get a fatty liver if you have more than 5% of your kidney is covered by fat. That's what it is, and it's a concern. Kidney cancer, leukemia, lung cancer, miscarriages, multiple myeloma, myoplastic syndrome, neurobehavior effects, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, renal toxicology, and another word I can't do. And these again, on some of the veterans, okay, you can fall under that category in some of them, and the VA will take care of those, take medical, and you won't have to pay co-pays for any of these conditions. But if you get health care for any other condition, it's not on the list, you may need to pay a copay for that care. And you can go and say, wait a minute, it's kind of a crossover, because the other side, they said they had kidney and they have bladder cancer. But again, on these ones, these 15s that I listed, and if a family member has it, what will happen is you still come to the VA and say, I have these. And so what the government would go in and say, we will reimburse you for any out-of-pocket expenses that you had. So, for example, if you had female infertility and you went through in vitro a couple of times, and it was $10,000 each, and your insurance company paid $7,000, and you had to pay $3,000 out of your pocket, and you tried it 4 times and say weren't successful, then that'd be $12,000, and you would put a claim in to be reimbursed for that $12,000. Okay, but the key is, if you are a veteran, and most of the people that would fall under this category would be Marines, you come in, whether it's me or someone else, or even going up to the VA yourself, put a claim in, and put a claim in right now. Okay. Now, if you are a widow of a veteran, and that veteran died, okay, go to that veteran's death certificate, okay? And if any of these are on that as a cause of death or contributory towards cause of death, come in and file a claim. What we would do on this case, for example, your husband died 20 years ago. And it goes, oh, yes, he died of leukemia. Come in and we will file a claim, because all I would need to file a claim is your marriage certificate and your death certificate. With that marriage certificate and a death certificate, we would go and file a claim for service connection due to leukemia. And then that would greatly increase the probability that you would be granted what was called DIC. DIC is dependency. It's compensation for a service-related death, which is almost $1,600 a month tax-free for the rest of your life, or unless you remarry. And a lot of women are pretty smart, and very few of them are going to go remarried and lose all the benefits. So that's what goes into Camp Lejeune. Okay, and here's another part that hasn't been really figured out. Okay, the federal government states that you cannot get paid for the same loss twice. So like I said, I had prostate cancer, and because of my prostate cancer, the VA gave me 40%. So the VA pays me about $600 or say $7,000 a month a year for my prostate cancer, the loss I suffered from my prostate cancer. So I've been collecting for my prostate cancer, I think at least 15 years. So 7 times 15, that's $105,000. Okay? And the VA is saying, well, the Navy is saying, your prostate cancer loss because you had at a young age is worth $90,000. So there's a possibility. So the VA's already paid me $105,000. So if you're in the service and you have an injury and the injury doesn't get up to a level to be medically retired, they give you what's a severance pay. So they go and say, okay, we're going to give you $20,000 in severance pay. And because of that, and then I go to the VA, and the VA says, oh yeah, this is much worse, and we're going to give you $500 a month for that. Okay? So what will happen is I will never see a single penny of that $500 a month from the VA until the VA has recouped that $20,000. Again, the government is saying, Mr. Roberts, you got paid $20,000, say, for tearing up your knee. The VA says, yeah, we're going to give you $500 a month because your knee was tore up. You had all these surgeries and everything. But since the government's already paid you for that once, we're not going to pay you until that $20,000 is collected. Okay? So what happens, there's a possibility. If I go file a lawsuit or a tort or whatever, especially the lawsuit. So again, say, hey, I got bladder cancer and I got $200,000 for that. I had the lawyer took $40,000, and I go in and I got $160,000. I go in and file a claim for the VA so I can get health benefits and all this other kind of stuff. And the VA says, well, yes, we're going to give you $1,000 a month because of the loss you suffered for the bladder cancer. So if the government's giving you $200,000, the VA says, we're not going to pay you that $1,000 a month until we've recouped the $200,000. But you can go, wait. I didn't get $40,000. $40,000 went to the lawyer. And the VA says, sorry, not our problem. You were paid $200,000, and what you choose to do with that $200,000 is your problem. That was your decision. Another thing, if you use a lawyer and get $200,000 from the lawyer, and you go, wait a minute, I don't want to pay that $200,000 back to the VA, so I'm not going to file a claim. Well, if you do not file a claim and you die from that cancer, excuse me, your wife doesn't get anything. She's going to have to go and track down a VSO and submit, try to go in and say, yes, my husband did this and he did that. Again, that $200,000, say you got going from the lawsuit and you didn't file for a claim in the VA, okay? Say you needed 2 hip replacements. That will make it 2 knee replacements. Okay. Hey, no big deal. I'll use my Medicare. Okay. So the hip replacement cost $30,000, and you have to pay 20%. So Medicare pays $24,000 for this. You're stuck at $6,000, or whatever your max cap is, catastrophic cap, depending on if you have a supplemental plan or anything. So you do it twice. Okay. But if you were using the VA healthcare and you had the 50% rating or higher, you don't pay a single penny. That's right, the 50% there, all free healthcare, free prescriptions, free hearing aids, free eyeglasses, free rehabs and stuff. You may have acupuncture, or you may have massage, or different things that the VA could give for you. That's all free if you get apply for, you submit a VA claim. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and some of these lawyers are over-promising money, but no matter what you want to do on this side, make sure you provide and apply for VA disability. You rate it, and not only will it be good for you, it will also take care of your family, your wife, if you happen to pass on before her. So it isn't just about you. It's also about the people that are passed on after. Again, one of the things, okay, the reason being, it's a morbid part of my job. If you die of kidney cancer and you were at Camp Lejeune, it was service-connected. And so, yes, your wife would get DIC. Then your wife would come and we'd fill out another form. Then your wife would get another $2,000 check from the VA to cover some of your funeral costs. So there's a whole bunch of things that you don't get on the media. So, yes, there are things that you can do, okay? For example, one of the things going on Camp Lejeune, but it's not on the presumptive list, is there was a number of, last time I knew there was at least 4 guys who died of breast cancer. Okay, while breast cancer is not on the list, it doesn't mean that you can't file a claim. And so I've talked quite a bit about the Camp Lejeune water. And so if you want to contact me for questions, just for questions or whatever, or set up an appointment or anything, all you have to do is email me at kris.roberts@va.gov. Okay, kris.roberts@va.gov. Big thing, Kris is with a K. KRIS Roberts@va.gov. And I may not get back to you right off the bat the same day, but I will get back to you. And I will try to answer every single question you want. If you want your DD-214 or you want copies of your service records and medical records, I have a way of getting them really quick at no cost to you and no risk of anybody getting it. Even thought I have a VA email. I do not work for the VA. I work for the people that come and see me, the veterans, and I'm certified for the VA to help you, and it gives me access into VA records. And so it's getting to the end of the show. Again, it was glad to be back. And again, the email is kriseroberts@va.gov. And I don't care where you live. I'm a veteran service officer. I help all veterans. I don't care if you're in Vermont, Massachusetts. I help veterans in Vermont, Maine, and Massachusetts. So if you have questions, email me and I'll get back to you as quick as possible. So again, thank you. And this will be one of many more shows to come.